In recent news, a significant meeting occurred in Paris involving European leaders and representatives from the Trump administration. They focused on achieving peace for Ukraine but faced a pressing issue: Greenland. This vast island, an autonomous territory of Denmark, is presently viewed by Trump as crucial for U.S. national security. During the meeting, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen emphasized that only Denmark and Greenland should decide their fate. Yet, the U.S. response highlighted unilateral options for acquiring Greenland, raising alarm among European leaders. This isn't just hypothetical. Trump has publicly expressed interest in Greenland previously, and his recent military interventions in Venezuela have made European nations more apprehensive. With both Denmark and the U.S. in Nato, any aggressive moves by the U.S. towards Greenland would fundamentally threaten transatlantic relations established since World War II. Denmark remains a strong NATO ally, but is now facing a unique challenge. The U.S. has a military base in Greenland, yet Denmark has pledged substantial funds for its defense. Meanwhile, Trump claims Greenland's strategic importance due to perceived threats from Russia and China, a statement that Denmark disputes. European leaders have largely opted for silence, fearing potential consequences from the U.S., despite a joint statement from a few countries supporting Denmark's sovereignty. Historically, the EU has struggled to unify its stance against U.S. influences, and the Greenland situation is no different. Critics argue that the European powers must confront these challenges head-on, while voices like German Chancellor Friedrich Merz express hope for increased U.S. involvement in NATO security measures for Greenland. The urgency is clear. Europe must communicate a united front regarding its sovereignty and security. As tensions grow, it is vital for Europe to rethink its dependency on the U.S. in defense matters. The leaders must engage in proactive planning to ensure that such scenarios do not compromise their interest in the future. Only through solidarity and collaboration can Europe aim to safeguard its position on the global stage. As this situation evolves, the call to action is clear. Europe must fortify its alliances and assert its independence to ensure its safety and sovereignty. In the backdrop of this diplomatic tension, Prime Minister Frederiksen took a decisive step, stating, "We will not allow external pressures to dictate our internal matters." Her words resonated deeply with the other leaders present, who were acutely aware of the delicate balance between cooperation and sovereignty. As discussions unfolded, the importance of a cohesive European stance became increasingly evident, with several leaders nodding in agreement with her resolute declaration. The meeting continued, with the atmosphere shifting towards a determination to stand firm against any unilateral U.S. actions that could disrupt the independence of Greenland and Denmark. Amid the discussions, French President Emmanuel Macron voiced his concerns, stating, "The integrity of our alliances is under threat, and it is imperative that we stand united." His call to solidarity prompted a spirited debate among the leaders, with many expressing a growing unease about the implications of U.S. policy shifts. Italy's Prime Minister backed Macron, insisting that the European nations must prepare for any eventualities that may arise from these tensions. The urgency of the situation drove home the reality that Europe's security is intricately linked to its ability to act as a cohesive force, rather than a collection of voices fragmented by fear. As they contemplated their next steps, the leaders recognized the need for a robust and unified response to safeguard not only Greenland, but the very principles of sovereignty they held dear. As the meeting progressed, the leaders began drafting a resolution to formally address the situation, emphasizing the necessity of Denmark's sovereignty. The Danish Prime Minister, visibly relieved by the supportive words of her colleagues, outlined potential diplomatic channels that could mitigate U.S. pressure. "We must engage in direct dialogue with the Trump administration," she proposed, suggesting a multilateral approach that included NATO allies as mediators. Her suggestion sparked a flurry of conversation, with leaders offering their insights on how best to approach the U.S. Meanwhile, Chancellor Merz expressed optimism, stating, "This is an opportunity for Europe to define its strategic vision, rather than being reactive." Underlying this optimism, however, was a shared apprehension about the rapid changes in U.S. foreign policy, compelling the leaders to take swift and decisive action. Realizing that delaying a response could embolden unilateral moves, the atmosphere grew tense yet focused. Ultimately, a consensus began to form. Unified, Europe could challenge the narrative surrounding Greenland and assert its collective sovereignty in a world increasingly influenced by power dynamics. The room buzzed with a renewed sense of purpose as the groundwork for a collective strategy was laid. As the leaders drafted their resolution, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte interjected, stressing the importance of involving civil society in this critical discourse. "The people of Europe must understand our decisions," he asserted, urging transparency and public engagement. The meeting concluded with a powerful statement of resolve as Prime Minister Frederiksen declared, "Together, we will uphold our sovereignty and ensure that our decisions reflect the will of our nations." With this united front, Europe demonstrated its commitment to maintaining its independence and securing its future, signaling a pivotal shift in transatlantic relations.